What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Let's turn this down. Turn down for what, right? Alright, we got Grindy at the top. 1581 playing Burning Abyss versus ARG YPFL Joey Lynch. That is a long name to say. 1638 Mystical Space Typhoon. He's playing against Nekroz. Aha! That's my guess. That's my guess. I have no idea what Joey Lynch is playing. That's just my guess. Sometimes Nekroz players will they'll set MST during their first turn. I believe that is an awful move because, like, if my opponent just goes one set back row and I'm playing S Knights, I will blind MST it, because if it's Mind Crush, you're not just gonna randomly flip over Mind Crush in game one. And when you set that MST, if you're playing Nekroz, then you open your MST to get MST'd, i.e. you can lose to, like, when your MST gets MST'd, now you don't have the MST for, like, a Vanities or a Skill Drain or something. So anyways, looks like Joey just scooped it up. He probably just didn't have what he needed. You saw that Grindy not only got a tour guide in the end phase, but then he had double downered. I believe each downer was sitting on 2500 attack, and then he had like Dante's underneath them. So usually with Nekroz, which technically we don't even know if he's playing that, but usually what Nekroz will do, their best plan of action to attack a double downer board is really to drop Abyss Dweller using Manju, Sanju plus Unicorn. The Abyss Dweller gets the 500 attack gain because of Unicorn, and then you pretty much bring Brio out. You just spin them back to the extra deck, and the Dantes won't trigger when they detach because of the Abyss Dweller. It's one of the only matchups where Brio puts in serious work. You rarely ever see Brio summoned against other decks. Like, you never really see it summoned against Cleese and stuff like that. So Grindy goes first. He sets 2. Unless they're both Mind Crushes, I don't think I like his position that much. He was playing against Nekroz. Again, I just guessed. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. I love Shared Ride this format. The card is amazing because it's always going to be a 1-for-1. And not only do you get the draw, but then it's like either your opponent has to stop what they're doing and just cease to make any further plays if they're playing, this deck, Nekroz, or they're just going to give you a fucking tillion cards, like Maxi, basically. And since this deck really doesn't OTK, but, like, barely, they're not going to be able to game you a lot of times. Like, they can game you if they summon this, plus, you know what I mean, Unicorn, plus, like, Trishula, plus, like, something else. I'm not quite sure why he didn't attack. I definitely would have attacked just to get the 1400 damage in. Oh, excuse me, he hasn't ended his turn. Okay, my mistake. Oh, Mind Crush. Oh, blind MST. Now you're going to lose Colossus, bud. That's unfortunate. And he only knows one card in your hand, but it's gone. So Grindy's definitely looking like he's in a great position right now, especially considering he now knows if his opponent has Maxi or Valor. So he knows the countermeasures that Joey might use against him. But I personally believe Shared Ride is one of the best cards against Nekroz. It's like a card that is useful in every situation in like the first 3 turns. A lot of times they won't do any other plays because they don't want to give their opponent so many cards when they don't know what they may have. Especially if, he knows your entire hand now. He knows what this card is. So he probably knows how to play around it. Oddly enough, I find myself wanting to play Burning Abyss, or at least getting very interested in the deck now. I don't know why that is. I think it's my inherent, how am I going to phrase this? My inherent appreciation for decks that people give up on, or decks that I feel like are underappreciated. Like, I'm still perfectly content with Satara Knights, and I'm probably gonna play that deck at the regionals I have in a couple of weeks. But I'm like looking into picking up the Burning Abyss stuff, which is the ultimate irony is I had 4 Dantes like less than 3 weeks ago. I sold all of them on TCG Player. I sold all the Dantes for like $70 a piece, and Dante first it was low, and then it went really high, and then now the card is completely tanked. It's at like $45, and When Dante was at 50, I was like, oh fuck. I kind of just sat on him. I was like, well, I'll just sit on him. I'm not gonna sell him. And then when they got when they rebounded back to 70, I was like, done. Just flipped them. But now I have no Burning Abyss stuff. So, but I got a little bit of trade stuff, so I might be able to pick up Dante's, as they're only like $45 now. Now the deck is teetering the budget. So you see that Grindy summons Alec and Lubick, and it's not the best combination in the world to have. Book of Moon is played, which means he's gonna lose one of them. So Alec is gone. Oh, excuse me, Lubick is gone. So that does really hurt what Grindy wanted to do. Unless he has Torghast. If he has Torghast, he just blow the brakes off of Joey Lynch, obviously. But I mean, sometimes I will see Burning Abyss players do that. They'll try and get a Dante on board to see if they can bait out your back row or whatever. But I mean, he knew his opponent had Book of Moon, so I'm pretty sure maybe he thought of some way to try and play around it or something. And he knows what his opponents have. Or he knows what his opponent has, so. Alec has 0 defense, which sucks, because it's just gonna die to an attack. It's not like Lubick wouldn't have died to an attack either. I feel like Burning Abyss is, I feel like it's a really, really skillful deck right now, because your Nekroz matchup is inherently really bad, because the stuff that you do does not affect them. It's not like Cleese, where you just blow up their scales with Fire Lake, and you juggle Fire Lake, and they can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! And they lose. Doesn't matter what floodgates they draw after that. Once you Fire Lake them and then you set up the Fire Lake for the second time, it's a Rizzy. They're not coming back. Against this deck, they don't give a fuck if they get Fire Lake. They can be like, okay, we just gonna summon our shit back next turn. So, you're not gonna game us, and we'll be perfectly fine. So, whatever card Grindy has set, it had better be a really, really good card. But even though this didn't work out for him, don't blame it on Shared Ride. That card's amazing. Shared Ride, completely, it left him with a Sanju and nothing else. So now it's looking like really, really good for Joey Lynch, because now it's looking like, well, I guess he would make Diamond Direwolf first, technically, right? Like, wouldn't he make Diamond Direwolf and pop the back row? Nope, he's gonna play Kaleidoscope. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't he have 2 unicorns in his hand? Vanity's played, which, okay. Again, me personally, I think I just would have went Diamond Direwolf first and popped the back row. I mean, he gonna lose Alec regardless, because he can just attack, but I think I just would have went Diamond Direwolf and popped this shit. And then I would have tried to go Kaleidoscope. Or I would have made Abyss Dweller. So Vanity's dies, so does Alec. And it's a really bad position for Grindy to be in. Now, Joey can't really advance his game state. I don't know if he has 3 monsters in his graveyard, in which he'd be, I would just guess yes. I'm gonna just guess he does have enough for Digesto Emerald. If he doesn't, then Abyss Dweller is probably the go-to guy. But if not, then okay, he can go Lavalva Chain, I guess. He might want to stack another Sanju on top of his deck. I see a lot of players do that. Okay, so he is going to do that. And I mean, it's the card that you always want to normal summon. So it's like, why not just go ahead and stack it? It might be time to scoop. And it started so good for Grindy. I mean, I feel like if he would have had a tour guide, I feel like it'd have been a wrap pretty much. But the Book of Moon did a number on him. Well-timed Book of Moon. Alright, so he summons Rubik and then Farfa. Obviously looking to bring out Dante. Okay, he does. Probably gonna detach. He detaches the Farfa, surprisingly. Gets Breakthrough Skill and Sir. The Sir definitely helps. I'm surprised he didn't, what's it called? Okay. I guess he's trying to leave him with a monster. I get what he's doing. He's trying to leave him with a monster so that he won't be able to recycle his spells. He's now gonna get Farfa out of the graveyard. I guess it's the only thing that has any decent attack. It's really unfortunate he doesn't have another BA, because Double Dante would have been so much better, wouldn't it have? I'm kind of surprised he also didn't summon Farfa in defense mode, as Lavalval Chain can't run it over, and at least he'd have two guys who could just chill in defense, and maybe you hope for the best. We'll have to see what happens. Okay, so he sets one. Maybe it's Fire Lake, which, if it's Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss, it makes even more sense to put Farfa in defense mode and not have him in attack mode. So Lavalval Chain will come back. I really didn't understand him putting Farfa in attack mode. I just don't. It seems like in defense mode, Manju can't run it over. Lavalval Chain can't run it over. It's pretty much good. If you have Fire Lake, your opponent can kind of force out the Fire Lake by just attacking the Farfa. In fact, that's what I would do first. I wouldn't even commit anything to the board. I'd just attack. I'm one of those players where if it appears that I'm going to grind you down, I'm going to do that. Like, I don't take unnecessary risks. If you're just offering me a free +1, why wouldn't I take it? And right now with Farfa in attack mode, you're just serving me up a free +1. I'll take that every single day of the week. I'll bait out your back row, and then we can just go from there. Now, if your back row is vanities, it's not like you can really advance your game state. So we'll see what Joey Lynch does. I actually have one of these too, a Lavalval Chain. I wish it would skyrocket back to $100. Definitely want to sell that the second it hit $100, because pretty much every Nekroz deck needs it. So he does commit to the board. Okay. It's going to activate the effect. I'm just going to guess he's going to go for Kaleidoscope. I'm not really sure what that back row is where it can legitimately be good for grindy. Because if you Fire Lake your opponent, they will probably summon something like Brio in main phase 2. Or potentially, well, you won't have any cards on board. I don't really think the Fire Lake really gets the job done. Alright, so he's going for Kaleidoscope. And I think one of the first things he's going to try and do is go for, I think what he's going to try and do is go for Abyss Dweller. I think he's trying to set up for the Abyss Dweller plus Brio play, which is why he just searched Brio. And I don't think he'll trade it in for another card. I think he's going to actually want to use it this turn. Or use it this time, should I say. Or he could just do the exact opposite of what I just said. Who listens to me, right? Alright, so you get Shuri. Keep in mind, Grindy can't Mind Crush at all, so he has no hand. Okay, so goes for Decisive Armor. Okay, that's the scoop phase right there. I think Decisive Armor is generally just a terrible card. Like, I understand why they only run one of it. It's just, that card is so susceptible to backer removal. You just bottomless it and it's like, oh, okay, what do we do here? Like, don't get me wrong, its in-hand effect is awesome, but when it's on the field, no dice. So Grindy is going first. I guess he doesn't want to get Gen locked or anything like that. He just better hope he doesn't brick. I guess it also gives him the chance to potentially put Darklaw on board turn 1, because you know that that Nekroz they're gonna give you a chance to use Darklaw. That's a guarantee. So he goes for Dante, detaches that graft. Obviously looking for a Sir. Doesn't see a Sir. Loses out Regeki in a shared ride. Cards he probably, I don't know if he wants Regeki, but he probably wants shared ride. You want shared ride turn 1 against Nekroz all day. Especially if you have a Dante on board too, because like the first thing you're gonna do as a Nekroz player is you're gonna do some random searching play. You're gonna either activate Preparation of Rites, or you're gonna activate Manju, Sanju, or you're gonna do something that searches. So you might do Brio. The first thing that you do 90% of the time is searching. So he's gonna get himself a tour guide during the end phase. Gets Breakthrough Skill, which I guess is good against Dweller. Sets 2, his Mind Crush is live if he happens to have one back there, because he will get a tour guide. And there's that tour guide. Alright, we're gonna see if he can play defense well enough with just two cards. I don't know. I mean, the Genlock is great and everything. I think I probably would have went second to get the extra card. Nothing other than the Genlock should Burning Abyss really care about. It's not like you're gonna make a turn 1 Abyss Dweller, you know what I mean, and hope that it gets you where you need to go. A lot of Burning Abyss players are starting to move towards Dark Hole, so you're gonna see like Regeki plus 2 Dark Holes. So it's not like the Genlock is the greatest thing in the world against the deck. Didn't see any mass change there. I wonder if he just like doesn't play it, or he just hasn't hit it, or what. Alright, what did I tell you? The first thing Nekroz players do is they activate searching cards. It is a guarantee. That is why Shared Ride is like the ultimate card against them. They don't even try and play other stuff. They're just like, summon Manju, play Preparation of Rites, summon Sanju. You know, I'm trying to think of another card. Activate Colossus, activate Brio. So he does his searching for Brio. And see, right now, if he had Shared Ride, he'd pretty much have to stop with Brio in hand. And it's like, well, you can't ritual summon, so you gonna give me cards, or what are you gonna do here? So, I mean, he might just give him the cards, but it really does show how much pressure a card like Shared Ride really puts on your opponent. Because if they open up with a bunch of blue cards and they activate Advanced Ritual Arts, or they activate Brio for another blue card, okay, well, you're really not doing anything with one card. He gets Sharit, which means he might be activating Cycle sometime soon. Alright, so Cycle is played. Vanities is chained to that. And Vanities is good. And now if you're grindy, even if you lose your monsters to a Dark Hole or to a Regeki, you still can trigger them, so it's not like the worst thing ever. Now, I saw this in another match. I think it would be extremely short-sighted and just borderline stupid of him to turn off that Vanity's emptiness. Unless he thinks he can game him. Alright, no one listens to me. Alright, so he Mind Crushes Valkyrs. Actually, why would I say unless he thinks he can game him? He has what's it called in hand? He has Tour Guide in hand. Now, unless he saw something that makes him really want to stop here, like a Max C, and Max C would, his only out with the Max C realistically would be to draw another Valkyries, because this Tour Guide right here is going to get graphed right here, and that's going to make another Dante, and then that Dante can detach, and he can use that graph to get anything. And I guess Joey didn't have a Max C, because that's pretty much Max C and Veiler would have been the only things to stop him there. Nobody plays Flying C anymore, because 3 Dantes is 7,500, and then whatever the graph gets, as long as it's over 500 attack, that's 8,000. So yeah, we saw Vanities backed up with a Mind Crush, and looks like that was it. Now he got lucky his opponent didn't have Max C, but I mean, I guess realistically, if you had the Mind Crush, you got to take that chance and like a premier event or something like that. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always.